Hello, and how are you doing? Welcome back to Swan Podcast. My name is Shell Njogo. You're very much welcome to this episode. Today marks a new beginning, and I think you will understand maybe at the end of the episode. I want to share my testimony, my salvation testimony today. I've shared part of it through the previous episodes, but today I want to give it in detail because I want to highlight something, and I wanted to highlight something, a journey that we'll be walking through. So, my name is Shell. At home, people call me Shello. In the Bible, it's Shelomith, and I think that's where they got it, Shello. This is my salvation story. I've mentioned that I got born again several times growing up through the radio, mostly because I didn't want my sins displayed when I got to heaven. That was a scary thing. I think maybe in episodes to come is something that I'll talk about it, why I was so scared about that, why as a young child I'm scared of my sins getting displayed. Kwani, what was I doing at the time? So I was afraid, and so I got born again a few times, but I never really understood what salvation was, neither did I see it around me, what it meant to be a Christian. In class 7 highlights something, because our English teacher or teacher of English used to plant doubts in our hearts as children concerning who God was. And I won't really say what he had said because it's quite blasphemous. But he managed to plant doubt. And from that time, I can retrace where my rebellion started full blown, of which my rebellion wasn't necessarily visible because I'm a quiet person and people associate quiet people with discipline, with being disciplined, which is not always the case. I think quiet children should be disciplined the same way as the ones that are loud and that are everywhere, just different methods, but they should be disciplined too. Anyhow, my rebellion started then. And so, in fact, through high school, I don't know about Form 1, but probably from Form 2 to Form 4, I never went to church. Probably once in a while. But the hypocrisy in my life was real because in school, when someone got born again, I'd clap and say, "Welcome to the kingdom." What kingdom? What kingdom when you never go to church? Whenever I was home, I never went to church. I had a reason. The most that we had to do with my sister, I'm not sure whether, was it my sister or elder brother? I think it's my sister. We just ensured that we know where home fellowship would take place, and that was good. Or if we went to church, we'd just stay until the time of announcement so that we'd know where the home fellowship is, so that when mom comes back, we'd tell her the home fellowship is here, and so we'd be safe. We went to church. So my rebellion started then. Fast forward college. In college, especially second year, I'm swamped up by depression, which is almost taking me out actually. And then I get sick. because my mind was tired of the thoughts, and I fainted one day as I was coming from industrial attachment. I passed out, then came home, went to hospital the following day, but then I got more sick. The headache increased more and more. It's like every pill of drug that I took increased the pain. And so on a Sunday morning, I was taken to hospital. At that point, I had totally surrendered. I was like, God, even if it will take an injection, which I'm afraid of, for this pain to go down, then I surrender. Whatever it takes for this pain to go away, I surrender. So I'm taken to the hospital, and then at the hospital bench, waiting for lab results, I talked to God, probably after a very long time, and I tell him, God, I don't want to die young. Remember, I was suicidal. I don't want to die young, and I also wouldn't wish this pain even on my worst enemy. And at this point, I was referring to the person who had hurt me the most, according to me, they had hurt me the most. And that was, an incredible amount of peace came upon me at that particular time. I felt so peaceful, and God answered immediately. But you'd think that that's when I surrendered my life to God. No, I was still half-hearted, but I started serving in church because I know that if I don't serve, I'm going to die. I'm going to die out of these thoughts. I've seen death, I've faced it, and I don't want to go through the same thing again. So I started serving in church, and in church, on Sundays, I'd check my language. At the time, I was cursing badly, listening to a lot of secular music, watching all kinds of movies, porn, all that. I don't know, let me not say porn. I don't know what I had started watching at that particular time. And sorry, I got distracted. So what happened? So I'm in church on Sunday, and my language is straightened up. My clothes are good, they are churchy and everything. But then Monday to Saturday, I live my own life. But that all changed for the entire 4 years of college life. But that now changed up when I finished college. And when I finished, my project had an issue. The day I was supposed to present it to the lecturer, my project had an issue. And so we were given 2 weeks so that we would return the project. So we would present the project after 2 weeks, of which I did. Went to school after 2 weeks. That must have been in May of 2018. I present my project, and I don't know what day it was, but I know it was in May of 2018. After nimetoka shule, I went to JKUAT, Westlands. Most people call it Juja Boys, but I went to Westlands. So I come from Westie to town, to CBD, so that I can come home. And I'm standing somewhere at Moi Avenue. And right there, as I stood, I thought to myself, if I've given myself to this project this much, to an extent that I've lost my memory. I lost my memory. I forgot the things that I used to watch, the things that I used to enjoy before the project started. If I've given myself to this project this much. How much more should I give myself to God? And right there, I decided to give my life to God, and that's to God at that particular time. I'm saying God. I know it's Jesus now, but at the time it was just God. But to Jesus, I surrendered my life at Moy Avenue. No one preached to me. It was just God who was like, I'm not going to let go of you any longer. You're going to, today as you go home, you'll go home with me. And so that's how I gave my life to Jesus. And that marked a beginning, or a new journey that I did not anticipate. I did not think how much that was going to change my life, and I also didn't know how serious God is about salvation. God is pretty serious. Fast forward 2019 or the end of 2018, I can't recall. Again, I lost my memory at that particular time. So some of the things, especially because it was for several months that I could not recall, something as serious as when my periods come, I totally forgot. Like, I totally lost my memory, my present memory. I forgot. I lost my present memory. So I could not recall such things like, when is my period? Was it last week, or am I like 2 weeks to wait? Nini, like, it was crazy. But at that time, God, in His mercy, used someone that we used to serve church with, Kelvin, a sound engineer. He invited me to K Crew Bible study, and as an introvert, I was like, yo, am I going to find people like in a circle? And I have to face these people, but because Kelvin is here, let me go. So I went to the Bible study. It was incredible. I felt like someone hugged me when I entered that place. No one talked to me really, but when I entered, I felt like someone hugged me. It was so welcoming. And so I went, sat, had a good time, barely. I don't know whether it was the first or the second Wednesday. The K Crew Bible study happens on Wednesdays, where the person, they were having a Bible study of the book of Hebrews at the time. And the person who was invited, aliona acha nikate, ama it was like the Holy Spirit was like, there is a girl that I've brought today and I need you to talk to her directly, because the person attacked the introverts. And I was so mad, and I don't think I can even recall anything else that was said apart from that guy kuingililia the introverts. And I'm like, yo, guy, you don't know me, you don't know my story, how dare you? And that goes on to show like our egos and our rebelliousness towards God. Why am I getting mad at a person at the pulpit who is teaching? Anyhow, but that marked my beginning. I never stopped going. I went there. I don't know again whether I went in 2018, but I went for the entire 2019 up to the time of COVID 2020. And 2020 marked another new beginning, because as the year started, it was DJ Moz who was leading that particular service, or he was the speaker of the day. And he said, I remember this prayer incredibly, that he was leading us to pray. And he said, are you seeking God's hand, or are you seeking His heart? And to me, that word, I took it so seriously, like it just hit my heart. and it was from that time on I started seeking God, like seriously. I started reading scriptures. I started reading scriptures in 2019, but or I think 2019. I'm not sure about 2018 again. Technically, probably that was the only memory that I reserve of 2018. One of the major memories that I have reserved in my mind. So I took that word seriously and I started chasing after God's heart. And I was like, God, I want to know your heart. I want to know your heart. I want to know your heart. And I sought for songs that were singing that had the same message. I want to see your heart. I want to know your heart, oh God. And that marked the beginning of my journey as a Christian. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this testimony, it is not all. Maybe I'm going to share like other major parts, like 2019, where God told me, you do not trust me. And that was also another uncovering of unbelief in my heart that led me to write like several poems about my unbelieving heart. That's also like part of it, or at least the journey had begun, that God could speak to me and tell me that I don't trust him. So the reason why I'm bringing this up and the reason why I'm saying this is a new journey is because there are many people who call themselves Christians, like I did, who thought God is only on Sundays, and on Sundays we can put on church clothes, on Sundays we can clean up our language, on Sundays we can play gospel music, but what happens to the rest of the week? This is Swan Podcast, rebranded or afresh, or as it is supposed to be, because I want us to walk together in a journey of pursuing God, not only on Sunday, but in our day to day. Like, God is also on Monday, God is also on Friday, God is also on Saturday. God is every day, He's omnipresent. He is seeking fellowship with us every single day of our lives. It's not only on Sunday, and it's not only pastors who read their word every day, even a normal Christian, the one who is probably in the marketplace. You're also supposed to read your Bible every day, but how does that journey look like? So welcome to Swan Podcast Afresh. And this is a journey for you if you've just begun, and if you're a fresh Christian. And this is also for you if you're deliberating within yourself, or whether you really need to follow this God. You're one leg in, one leg out. You want to be godly, but at the same time, the world still looks good. This is the podcast for you. Welcome to the incredible journey. I am your host, Shell Myth, Shell, whatever it is. My friends call me Shell. Serious people call me Shell Myth. Whatever it is, karibu to this podcast. I cannot wait for us to discover God together, to learn to live for God together, to learn to have faith in God. It's a journey. To learn to trust God, to learn to be faithful, to learn to be consistent and all that. So that's it for this episode. Yeah, see you next Thursday. This is by the way, so nasimamia harusi for the very first time in my life, or if I've ever done so, sijui. So I painted my nails in I don't know how many different colors. because I want to know what color would go well with gold. And it's childish, but we are children of God, so I can be a child. It was useless, by the way, but you're welcome to this incredible journey.